You'd think checking a bag is the easy part of flying. Drop it off, grab your boarding pass, and you're good, right? Not exactly. Because once your suitcase disappears behind that rubber curtain, it enters a world you never see. A maze of conveyor belts, cargo holds, pressure shifts, and 100 strangers handling it before it gets back to you, if it gets back to you. And in 2025, things move faster, rules change quicker, and one small mistake can send your bag to the wrong city, or spill your clothes all over a 737 floor that smells like dog pee and jet fuel. Yes, that happens. So if you think baggage mishaps are just bad luck, think again. We're breaking down what actually works and what baggage handlers wish you knew. Because no one talks about what happens after your bag leaves your hands. We will. Let's get into it. A soft duffel bag with pockets and dangling straps might be great for a weekend drive, but it's a liability on an airport conveyor belt. Checked luggage isn't handled gently. It gets slammed, shoved, and squeezed through machines that don't care what's hanging off your suitcase. Straps catch, zippers jam, and if that happens, your bag gets pulled for manual inspection, or worse, gets left behind. Hard-shell luggage avoids all that. No loose parts, no outer pouches to snag, just a smooth case that slides through without drama and protects what's inside when it hits the ground hard. Because yes, it will. If your suitcase isn't built for rough handling, it's not built for check-in. Every suitcase tells a story, but the only one TSA cares about is today's. If you leave old airline tags or stickers on your bag, the scanner might pick up the wrong barcode. And in some cases, it does exactly that. That's how bags end up in Dallas when you're headed to Denver. Or worse, flying solo to Frankfurt while you're still boarding in Philly. Just because a faded sticker from last summer's trip to Vegas was never peeled off. It sounds like a fluke, but it happens more than you think. So before you even leave the house, strip everything old off your suitcase. Every barcode, every tag, clean slate. Your bag should scream one thing only: this flight, this airport, this destination. After a long flight, the last thing you want is to play Guess That Bag at baggage claim. But that's exactly what happens when your suitcase looks like every other black rectangle spinning on the belt. That's why marking your bag matters. But not just any marking. Forget the classic ribbon tied to the handle. It might look cute, but it's a disaster in motion. Those loose ends can get caught in the conveyor system, and suddenly your bag's getting pulled for manual handling. Best case, it's delayed. Worst case, it never makes it out. Instead, go for something flat and bold, a strip of neon duct tape across the side, a brightly colored luggage strap that hugs the body. I personally use electrical tape to make a giant X on both sides of my case, instantly recognizable, zero snag risk. Make your suitcase easy to spot, but impossible to jam up, because standing out at baggage claim shouldn't mean holding up the whole carousel. Most travelers use a lock to feel safe, but if it's the wrong kind, it won't stop theft. It just slows down security until they cut it off. TSA checks about 5% of all checked bags at random, and if your suitcase is locked, they're getting in, one way or another. If the lock isn't TSA approved, they'll break it. No heads up, no refund. Just a busted zipper and a loose suitcase rolling onto the carousel like it got mugged. TSA-approved locks have a universal keyhole that allows agents to unlock and relock without damaging your bag. You still get security, but without the risk of your suitcase arriving with busted hardware. It won't stop professional thieves, but it protects you from unnecessary damage from having to buy a new lock every time you fly. So unless you enjoy the sound of bolt cutters, stick with a TSA-friendly option. Nobody plans to lose their luggage, but when it happens, the airline's first question is always the same. Can you describe what was inside? And that's where most people freeze. Was the blue shirt in that bag, or the other one? How many chargers did you pack? What brand was the jacket? That's why snapping a quick photo before you zip it shut is one of the smartest habits you can build. Just lay everything out, take a clear shot, and you're done. If your bag goes missing or something gets stolen, that photo becomes your best evidence for the airline, for insurance, and for your own memory. Insurance companies love this. Why? Because it removes the guesswork. No vague claims, no "I think I packed," just proof. It speeds up your case, makes payouts smoother, and shows that you were prepared, not just guessing after the fact. One traveler said their refund went through in days simply because they had a photo and a basic item list. No arguments. No delay. 10 seconds now could save you weeks of frustration later. This one's simple, but people ignore it all the time. Do not put cash, jewelry, electronics, or important documents in your checked bag. No matter how secure your suitcase feels, the cargo hold is not the place for anything you can't afford to lose. More than 2 million checked bags were delayed, lost, or mishandled at major U.S. airports last year alone, and valuables inside are rarely covered in full. Airlines have limits. Some won't cover cash at all. Others cap reimbursements far below what your gear is worth. And it's not always about theft. Bags get rerouted. Luggage ends up sitting in storage rooms overnight. Locks get broken. Things disappear. If it matters, keep it with you. In your carry-on. Within reach. Because once your suitcase disappears behind that rubber curtain, you won't see it again until the baggage carousel. If you're lucky. That fancy sunscreen. The glass bottle of cologne. The thick body lotion you swore you'd need. Now imagine all of them exploded across your clothes, soaked into your shoes, and seeping through every zipper pouch like a melted disaster. It happens. Cabin pressure changes, bags get flipped, lids pop off, and even one leaky bottle can ruin everything else you packed. So here's the move. Seal every liquid, zip-top bags, leak-proof travel bottles, and for anything high risk, double bag it. Stick it in the center of your suitcase, cushioned by clothes, away from fragile or valuable items. You don't need to bubble wrap your entire toiletry kit. Just respect the physics. Checked luggage gets thrown around like it owes someone money. And your shampoo? It doesn't stand a chance on its own. You might think TSA only cares about your carry-on. But checked luggage has its own set of banned items, and breaking the rules can get your bag delayed, flagged, or worse, confiscated. Things like fireworks, fuel canisters, lithium batteries, or pepper spray? Absolute no-goes. Even something innocent like a camping stove or a souvenir knife can trigger a full bag inspection and a big red "Do Not Load" tag. And here's the part most people miss. TSA doesn't explain this at the airport. You're expected to check before you pack. Thankfully, they made it easy. Just go to tsa.gov and search for "What can I bring?" That's the exact tool they use at checkpoints. Type in anything, like essential oils or battery pack, and it tells you instantly whether it's allowed in carry-on, checked, both, or neither. And if you're flying internationally, double-check with that country's rules. Some things that TSA allows might still be banned elsewhere. You check your bag, you board the plane, you land, and your suitcase doesn't. It happens more than airlines admit. Sometimes the bag's just delayed. Other times, it's off on its own adventure. Either way, you don't want to be stuck in the same clothes for the next 24 hours. That's why you should always pack one full change of clothes in your carry-on. Shirt, underwear, socks, maybe even something for sleeping. And if you're traveling with kids, split their stuff between bags. One mom said when her son's bag went missing, they were fine, because she and her husband each had packed a full outfit for him in their own suitcases. It's such a small thing, but it can turn a lost bag disaster into just a mild inconvenience. Especially if your layover turns into an unexpected overnight. When you fly, pack for the trip, but carry on like the worst case might actually happen. Everyone says get to the airport early, and they're right. But when it comes to checking your bag, early isn't always better. Here's why. The sooner your bag goes behind the counter, the longer it sits unsupervised. More time in the system means more chances to get misplaced, mishandled, or, yes, opened. Baggage handlers have even shared this online. The first bags checked are usually loaded first, and sometimes pulled off if weight needs adjusting. Meanwhile, bags checked closer to departure stay in the flow and get handled less. Of course, don't cut it too close, but if you've got time to spare, Wait until you're closer to the cutoff, about 45 minutes before boarding. It shortens the time your luggage is out of sight and reduces the odds of it wandering off. Because sometimes, last in really does mean first out, and less messed with. Once your suitcase disappears behind the check-in counter, you're basically flying blind, unless you track it yourself. Most major airlines now let you follow your bag in real time through their apps. Delta, United, and American all show when your luggage is scanned, loaded, and even which carousel it'll land on. It's free and surprisingly accurate. But if you want full peace of mind, slip a tracking device like an Apple AirTag or Samsung SmartTag into your bag. These tiny GPS tags sync with your phone and show you exactly where your suitcase is, even if the airline can't. One traveler shared that when her bag didn't arrive, the airline had no idea where it was, but her phone showed it was still sitting in the departure airport. She walked up, showed them the map, and they found it within minutes. Just make sure you tuck the tag under a liner or inside a zippered pouch. It's small, legal. Per FAA, lithium content is under the limit, and it could save you from a total bag mystery. A suitcase that looks expensive is an open invitation. And thieves at airports? They're not guessing. They're scanning. That's where luggage covers come in. A snug, stretchy fabric wrap can make your sleek designer bag look generic, even boring. And that's a good thing. It's not just about theft. Covers also protect against scratches, spills, and that black conveyor belt grime no one talks about. Bonus, they help you spot your suitcase from a mile away without using anything that could get stuck in the system. Just choose the right type. No dangling straps, no metal hooks, nothing that can catch. Go for spandex or polyester that hugs the suitcase tight, and make sure it's made for checked luggage, not just a rain shield. Some travelers even use full-body plastic wrapping services like Secure Wrap, usually around $15 to $20 depending on the airport. It's a common habit, especially on international routes. But here's the catch. That kind of wrap might be doing more harm than good. Aside from the environmental waste, it can make your suitcase harder to handle, less mobile, less slide-friendly, and way more effort to load. Want to know how baggage handlers feel about it? Just wait till the end. Everyone remembers to tag the outside of their suitcase. But what happens if that tag gets ripped off in transit? That's why you should always include a piece of paper inside your bag with your name, phone number, email, and final destination. Some travelers even add their return flight details in case the bag gets lost on the way home. It's a simple backup that can make all the difference. Because when your luggage is found but has no ID on the outside, this little slip of paper can be what gets it back to you, faster and with fewer headaches. These aren't tips from a travel blog. These come straight from the people who actually load your bags, often before sunrise, in the rain, and with no time to baby your $300 suitcase. So if you want your bag to survive, listen to what they wish every traveler knew. Get a four-wheeled bag, period. If it rolls, they'll roll it. If it doesn't, it gets tossed. Not to be mean, it's just physics. Four wheels make the job easier, and your bag gets treated better when it glides instead of drags. Good fabric beats cheap plastic. Tumi bags, for example, have canvas-like exteriors with strong internal frames, and they hold up. But most hard-shell bags, they crack, dent, or split after a few trips. The only exception might be Pelican cases, but those are more gear vaults than luggage. Zippers matter more than you think. When cheap zippers burst, your clothes end up scattered in the belly of a 737. Baggage handlers try to scoop it back in, but that cargo floor isn't exactly clean. Clothes might come back smelling like fish, dog pee, or worse. And often, everything's coated in fine gray dust from aluminum rubbing during transit. Please stop shrink wrapping your bags. They hate it. The plastic wrap locks the wheels and makes the suitcase impossible to slide. So instead of rolling it gently, they have to toss, swing, or drag it just to get it loaded. Always use a TSA-Approved lock, never zip ties or non-TSA padlocks. If TSA needs to open your bag and can't, it gets pulled and possibly left behind. Occasionally, a supervisor lets them cut the lock, but you won't be reimbursed. TSA locks won't stop theft entirely, but they do prevent zippers from bursting and keep your stuff secure enough to make it through. Don't overpack. Just don't. Bags that explode open at baggage claim almost always have one thing in common: too much stuff jammed inside a cheap bag. Weak zippers plus low-quality fabric, overstuffing equals disaster. When those bags blow, your stuff goes flying. Don't stuff the front zipper pocket. If it bulges, it catches. That's how bags get torn on conveyors or jammed in cargo holds. Flat items only. Anything bulky belongs inside. And never, ever put your keys or medications in checked bags. If your suitcase gets lost or delayed, you're stuck, and no one's prying open a cargo hold to get them back. These aren't travel tips, they're survival tactics for your luggage. That's it. Small habits, big difference. Your bag might not thank you, but your future self at baggage claim definitely will. If this helped, hit like, drop a comment, or share it with someone who always overpacks and still forgets their charger. And hey, may your suitcase always land when you do.